Welcome everybody, and thank you for joining our webinar, Backup for Virtualized SAP Solutions. Before we start the webinar, I would like to give you a short introduction to the webinar tool for those of you attending the first time. At the bottom of the audience console are multiple application widgets you can use. If you have any questions during the webcast, you can click on the Q&A widget at the bottom and submit your questions. We will be answering these right after the presentation. A copy of today's slide deck is available in the resource list widget that looks like a green folder at the bottom of your screen. You can expand your slide area by clicking on the maximize icon on the top right of the slide area or by dragging the bottom right corner of the slide area. If you have any technical difficulties, please click on the help widget. It has a question mark icon and covers common technical issues. An on-demand version of the webcast will be available approximately 1 day after the webcast and can be accessed using the same audience link that was sent to you earlier. So, my name is Wolfgang Bausch. I'm the Business Development Manager for the SAP market in EMEA at Red Hat. And I'm happy to introduce to you our main speakers today from our partner SAP. We have a long-standing and very good and successful partnership with Holger Gottwald, Senior Alliance Manager at SAP, and Ralf Bogner, Senior PreSales Manager at SAP. A couple of weeks ago, we announced the certification of Red Hat Virtualization for SAP HANA in production. So now Red Hat is able to offer you an operating system and a hypervisor that are both validated for use with SAP applications and SAP HANA environments. And they provide a level of open standardization to organizations that are seeking A, greater choice of virtualization solutions, B, operational efficiencies, or C, cost reductions in their data center. But what does the virtualization of the SAP infrastructure mean for your business continuity management strategy? This is where SAP's unified data protection plays a vital role. Before we get into the solution, let's get a picture of your plans to migrate to SAP HANA. Would you please be so kind and answer the question so that we get a better understanding of what is really relevant for you, and we will present the results of the poll in some seconds. So if you're already on SAP HANA, please click on the first option of the answer. If you're planning to migrate to SAP HANA within the next 24 months, please choose the second option. And if you're not ready within the next 24 months, if you're planning to do your SAP HANA migration later, click the third option. So I think by now everyone should be ready. It's not that difficult to get the answer. And so here are the results. Okay, I think that's kind of a typical representation, or not that really typical if I really look at it. Normally we see that just some 10% are running already on SAP HANA. So this is kind of an advanced group here. And normally we do have more attendees that are in the planning mode for the first 24 months. So looks like that also many of you are still gathering the information, looking for best practices, and I hope that we can deliver many of the answers as of today. And with that, Holger, I'm handing over to you.
Thank you, Wolfgang, for the introduction. Yes, this is Holger Gottwald from the company SAP. I'm the Global Alliance Manager at SAP for Red Hat, and I'm very proud that I can talk with you about our offering for the SAP backup. What we want to talk about is, of course, something general information about SAP sesam. We will come closer to the IT environments. We will talk about data privacy. We will talk about the alignment with Red Hat. Unfortunately, this slide is a little bit shifted, sorry. We will talk about SAP backup, and at the end, we will have a short summary. Some generic information about SAP and the product SAP sesam. SAP is a German company, and still in many countries of the world, this is combined with an attribute of quality and, of course, data privacy, which will be a specific focus later on in our presentation. SAP sesam is a backup software which is available all over the world. We have more than 5,000 customers in more than 60 countries, and we serve all these countries with certified partners. We have a very long experience with backup software. The company SAP is already on the market since 30 years, and since 25 years we offer the backup software SAP sesam. Especially we are very proud about our support reputation, and we will see an additional slide right now on that topic. I'm very sure that everyone knows the analyst company Gartner. And we are one of 7 companies which have been named as a customer choice for 2018. They have only 7 products which are allowed to use the name customer choice. And if you compare these products, we are one of the best. And I would say if you are working in a heterogeneous environment, we are the best of these products. Feel free to have a look in the Gartner Peer Insight tool. There you can see all the end customer votings about the products, and you will see statements and real big reviews, what they say about the product. And then you can see that SAP sesam is a very stable product with a very good support.
Yes, also a warm welcome from my side. My name is Ralf Bogner. I'm the pre-sales manager at SAP. And I will guide you through the next few slides. A bit more technical information, some information about the architecture and the licensing. And of course, we are not doing only data protection for SAP environment, specific SAP HANA environments. That means with the first slide, we get an overview of all the supported applications, operating systems, storage systems that SAP is able to protect. That starts with the flexible licensing, with MSP licensing, with standard licensing. We come to that later. And of course, with typical storage support protocols like NDMP, DD Boost, but also in specific architecture support for Intel architectures, IBM Power architectures, which is also in the HANA environment often very important, as we also have power systems with Red Hat running and supporting S/4HANA. And of course, enterprise storage systems, also Red Hat Enterprise Storage. On top of that, we have support for different hypervisors, a broad range. That means we also support, of course, Red Hat Virtualization, but also KVM-based or Xen-based hypervisors and VMware Hyper-V, of course. On top of that, we have the typical operating systems. So we have a real broad range of operating systems that are supported. The common, of course, Windows and Linux operating systems with Red Hat and SUSE, but also CentOS, Debian. We have a support matrix for that that we come later to. And on top of that, we have the complete HANA stack. The HANA stack is very important. That means we support the complete NetWeaver environment with MaxDB, Oracle DB, IBM DB2, and Microsoft SQL. On the other hand, we have the S/4HANA stack with B1 with S/4HANA, and very important also SAP ASE as the second database in 2025 is supported with SAP sesam. Of course, all the typical databases are supported, like PostgreSQL, MariaDB, DB2 Informix, Oracle, and on top we have the groupware stack with the common mail systems like the Rafa, Exchange, Lotus Notes, GroupWise, and applications like Atlassian, Jira, SharePoint. So as you can see, a broad range of supported OS and applications and hypervisors with SAP, and really good to combine these solutions. Why SAP sesam? Here we have a few examples of customers that switched to SAP, had other backup products in use before. Just to give you an example of the idea why that was important for them, I just give the customers here and go just for the statements, and the statements are quite simple. They have a focus on Linux-based OS and need a scripting interface integrated. They have HANA solution running and they need a certified SAP HANA backup. They have a normal SAP solution running and need a certified backup. The University of Vienna, as an example, switched to us because they have more than 150 Red Hat virtual machines running and they needed a Red Hat virtual machine backup or a KVM-based backup. So as you can see it here, specific cases, mostly certified solutions for open source software, solutions for other hypervisors, there's the common hypervisors, solutions for IBM Power Architecture. This makes it interesting, and that was the reason why they've chosen for SAP sesam. I talked a bit about the license models. We have different license models to fulfill all the needs the customer has, but of course also our partner has. That means the classic license model, this is the typical model I think everybody is aware of, so you count the number of machines, OS, storage and everything to get a license calculated. I would say mostly nowadays we sell our capacity-based license model, and therefore we have a volume-based license model and subscription license model. This is fairly simple. You just have to calculate the amount of front-end terabytes for one full backup, and that's actually the calculation for the price. So nothing else. Everything is included in that volume model, so you don't have to calculate different applications or different databases. Everything is completely included. Also, our deduplication technology is included in that model. And for partners or data centers or bigger providers, we have our so-called MSP license, Managed Service Provider model. This model calculates exactly the same way. That means you calculate with the front-end amount of terabytes. There is another model in the MSP also available where you just have to calculate the amount of virtual machines and physical machines that you have to pay. But this is a monthly payment, and of course this partner, this managed service provider, then has to do the first level support when he goes for the MSP license model. For the supported environment, just in a nutshell, what I talked about before, we have here an overview how the architecture works and what we are able to support. That means we normally start with the SAP sesam server. The sesam server is, let me say, it's the brain of the complete data protection environment that keeps the database, keeps the metadata, so everything is stored at the sesam server. You can install the server on a Windows or Linux operating system. You can install it on a virtual machine or in a cluster operating system, cluster environment. You can connect any kind of disk or tape storage to that system, and you have an integrated disaster recovery feature for the sesam server itself. And of course, as I mentioned that before, our so-called multiplexing engine, so multi-streaming backup, is integrated and deduplication is integrated. So you don't need additional software or additional modules to work with that. You can connect any kind of disk storage. That means we don't care if you use a NAS, SAN, or if you connect it via exclusive fiber channel, NFS, SMB. As long as we can see the disk storage, we can work with that disk storage. We can work also with Red Hat Enterprise Storage, cluster file systems, and of course with hyperconverged storages. We also support storage technologies like NDMP for NetApp or snapshots in that case, or DD Boost for EMC. So this is a wide range, and of course any kind of tape library or connected tape is also supported. So the common LTO or Predator drive, so what you have can be directly connected. On the operating side, on the operating systems, so client side, we support really a huge range of operating systems. Also, long-term support is integrated. That's very important when we talk about all the systems. If you have some old HP UX Sun or IIX systems running, or even Windows NT systems, so long-term support is a very important point for us, and of course is available with SAP sesam. For the databases, we support the common databases, the common standard and enterprise databases, as I mentioned that before, and of course we support them also for SAP, which is very important later on when we talk about SAP specific cases like migrating from R3 environment to an S4 environment. Of course, this is a seamless operation with SAP sesam. The main systems I mentioned before, the hypervisors I mentioned before, are supported in that environment. And when we talk about scale out in our architecture, we use a so-called remote device server, which is some sort of a media manager. That means it's completely controlled by the SAP sesam server. Also, the sesam server keeps the metadata, so a rock-solid system. That means if the system crashes or fails, you just have to reinstall a 100 megabyte package and everything is operational again with our remote device server. And the remote device server is able to connect also to any kind of storage device and transport the backup data directly to the storage devices. And of course, deduplication and multi-streaming is also integrated. This shows us the possibilities to scale out. That means for small branches, we can do a direct backup to our data center or to our sesam server. For that backups, we are able to use our so-called source deduplication technology, that the data is deduplicated before transported to the sesam backup device. In case of medium branches, we can use our remote device server to scale, that the remote device server is doing global deduplication of the client and then replicates the deduplicated data to the main data center. And for large branches, we can use the RDS with an on-prem backup and do an on-prem backup, and afterwards create a second copy as an example with a replication to the data center. Last but not least, we are also able, of course, to do mirroring, to do a cross-replication in between two data centers for business continuity purposes, and therefore we are also able to combine different sesam servers with a master control system, so-called master user interface. And last but not least, we have a dashboard available. It's a web-based feature. You can use it with any kind of browser with authentication, where the customer is able to get all the information he needs directly, and also with an integrated restore with that with authentication. That's the SAP hybrid backup architecture, from small to big, with any possibilities in scale-out purposes. We talked about the hypervisors before. That's for me very important. So, of course, everybody is aware of that. We support the typical standard features for VMware and Hyper-V. That means, okay, you have the instant recovery, single file restore, all that, the common features, I would say. But more important for me is that we also support Citrix Zen Server as a hypervisor, and of course, Red Hat Virtualization is supported and native KVM is supported. That means in case the customer is moving to Red Hat Virtualization, it is really simple to integrate and simple to use, as we have a unified look and feel. So he don't have to adapt things in the backup environment. He can just seamless move over, which is really, really handy and helpful in that case. Related to applications, operating systems, we have a polling question for that, as we talked about that before. So Holger, would you go to the question?
Yes. As you talked about the applications, of course, the main application for today is SAP. And there we have a short question to you. Let's say these are two questions, because we want to ask you how you are running your SAP application server and how you are running your SAP HANA environment if you have one. Please click on one of the first three answers and additionally on one of the second three answers. So let's have a look. Yes, very interesting. More or less it's the same answer for the application servers in real environments and in virtual environments. That's great.
Yeah, that looks really, as we have to say, really interesting that we have a high ratio for already virtualized SAP HANA environments, which is very interesting. In that case, of course, it's interesting to know which kind of hypervisor. But of course, I think here we talk about RHV. Okay. Let's go on with the short summary. So related to applications, we have the common databases supported: Oracle, SAP, DB2, SQL, MySQL, and so on. But as I mentioned, very important also there, as we know, a lot of people have Red Hat and Oracle databases for their SAP R3 solutions running, and as we have it seen in the polling, and think to migrate or think to merge to SAP HANA solutions. That's important. Everything is covered with the SAP, not with the SAP, with the SEP data protection solution for a seamless migration. We have a few examples later on for that. Of course, the operating systems are covered. Red Hat is covered. The common Linux systems are covered, and very important, they are also covered on Power Architectures. The group dev solutions, so we have the Copano, we have the Exchange, Lotus Notes, IMAP, and GroupWise. We have the common group dev solutions also covered, and as we mentioned, at the moment with our current release, we have 5 hypervisors covered, and ongoing development for that.
Okay, let's move to the next topic. We will speak about data privacy, and I think this is more and more important in each company and in each country. 2 cases of data privacy, or let's say data privacy problems. The first one is the famous actress Scarlett Johansson, which found a lot of her private photos in the internet, and of course she didn't like it. The second one is the manager of the famous soccer club FC Bavaria Munich, in Germany. And the manager of this football club or soccer club was in prison for 3 years because of his private text data. Therefore, you see, data privacy is a real important topic. And how do we serve it? We serve it according to the Bundesamt for Informationstechnik called BSI. This is a German government, but as you know, if you compare the IT regulations in different countries, Germany has one of the strictest regulations worldwide. And therefore, we are very proud that we act according to the BSI. Additionally, there's a European regulation. Of course, we fulfill everything we can for this regulation, and we have a big white paper about this regulation and how we handle it. If you're interested in it, send me an email afterwards and you will get the link or the whole document as you like. If you have different regulations in your countries, of course, we are more than happy to discuss it with you.
Yeah, privacy, a big thing. So that's the important part that we also mentioned the BSI as we have to fulfill these standards to fulfill regulations for governmental projects and military projects, also on the European and, of course, on the global scale. What do we need for that? Of course, we need the integration. That means the transport via HTTPS protocol with limited ports, with adaptable ports, which is very important. The usage of our remote device servers to adapt the network structure, like VLAN support and everything. And the next point is, for us, very important, the integration of automated restores, of automated verifies of the restores, so that you are able to get the 100% consistent second data set, and also in that case to use SAP data protection for business continuity purposes. The integrated encryption, of course, 256 encryption is integrated and is not only integrated for normal data backups, it's integrated for the transport streams. It's integrated SSL connection. It's integrated also for the deduplication storages and for the normal data storages and for the tape storages. So communication, data transport, and data storage, everything is completely encrypted. And external password protection with the 4i principle, of course, that's also integrated, means only with the 4i principle you are able to recover data, to restore data if the protection is activated.
Now we come to the next question. Please, I ask you for your very frank answer. If you are sure, are you sure that your current backup software fulfills your and your customers' data privacy needs and the legal regulations? What do you think? Please give a short answer. Click on one of these answers. Interesting to get your answers. Thank you for your frank answers. Yes, this leads me to the idea that it would be very helpful if we can get in discussions afterwards. Please let's discuss about how you fulfill it and how we can support you to fulfill it better.
Yeah, but that's a really interesting rating. I mean, we have 44% for I hope, and we have 33% for yes, 19% for I doubt, and only 3% for no. So everybody is really aware of its backup solution, his backup solution. But in between with the answer with 44 for I hope, that's of course very interesting for us. Yeah, that screams for consulting, I think. Yeah, thanks for the answers. I think we should get the rating then later on presented also. Okay.
Of course, we want to discuss about two partnerships. The first one is Red Hat. We are very proud about our long partnership with Red Hat. Red Hat is a very important and active partner for us. Of course, we have the partnering for Linux systems since 25 years, as we started with Linux and Unix systems. But I would say a very active partnership with Red Hat is running since 2005. And this is a really good partnership. Therefore, we support all the current releases of Red Hat environments, not only by normal backup and recovery. Of course, we also support the disaster recovery environments. If you think about the RHEL support, it's not just on Intel, it's also on IBM Power. We have been the first one who supports Red Hat Virtualization, and therefore I want to hand over to my colleague for the next slide.
Red Hat Virtualization. We started more than 2 years ago with Red Hat together to implement a data protection solution. At that point in time, it was Red Hat Enterprise Virtualization. Nowadays, we talk about Red Hat Virtualization. In that case, we support Red Hat Virtualization from the version 4.x and newer, of course. We do a full backup, a copy backup of the virtual machines as a snapshot-based backup. Important for that, of course, single node and cluster environments are supported. We use the Red Hat API for the backup and restore process. We are doing an online backup of the virtual machines, a snapshot-based backup, and you can do the backup on LAN-based storage attached, or you can also do a LAN-free backup on your SUN-attached environment, which is very important to reduce network bandwidth. Also, our DDoS application technology is directly integrated. You can use the DDoS technology to reduce the amount of use space for your storage devices dramatically. We use a virtual machine as a data mover, similar to the VMware Hot Hat backup, and this virtual machine then gets the snapshots connected for the backup, and afterwards the snapshots will be deleted when the backup is finished. For the restore process, we're able to recover the virtual machine to the original location, to override the original virtual machine. You can create a new virtual machine. You can use other destinations, other data stores, other disks for the recovery, so you can change the target before you start the restore, and you can also do a flat file restore of the virtual machine to mount, as an example, individual disks if you have some things to do.
We have two important papers for you to help you to get the first contact with our support for Red Hat solutions. The first one is our so-called SEP fact sheet for Red Hat. It's just a 2-pager. This gives you the first impression about how we support it, what we support, and you will get the link for the download afterwards.
Yeah, the second one, let me say, goes a bit more in-depth technical and has a lot more information. Is our SAP white paper for Red Hat Virtualization. The white paper is also available for download, and a few more pages also with some examples, and I think it will answer most of your questions. Otherwise, of course, don't hesitate to contact us directly to discuss the REF integration for data protection.
The last slide of our Red Hat alignment section is about a statement, just one of the Red Hat statements we get every now and then. And we are very proud about this statement of the EMEA manager of the Red Hat partner enabling team, who was a participant of our partner event last year. and he was very excited about our successful cooperation and mentioned it in these sentences. Now let's talk about the second player in this triangle configuration to support SAP on Red Hat environments. At first, to start this section, we want to ask you how you do your SAP backup right now. Do you use an own tool? Do you use a different backup software compared with SAP sesam? Is it one that is certified from SAP, or is it without SAP certification? Or do you don't use SAP at all? Sorry. Oh, very interesting. 18% use own tools. And additionally, 18% use a backup solution without SAP certification. It's not easy to handle problems if SAP would say to you it's not supported. Let's get in discussion and we will help you.
Yeah. So our SAP partnership is always a bit confusing for me, saying SAP, SEP in English sentences, but let's talk about SAP. So we are certified since 2002, but we have a long-term relationship with SAP since more than, I think, 17 years now. We started the certifications with the NetWeaver program. That means with the common Oracle and Linux and Windows databases, MaxDB, and of course we added HANA on Intel and HANA on Power Systems for Red Hat and SLAS environments. And 1.5 years ago, we also integrated our SAP ASE. This was it's formerly known as the Sybase database module, which is normally also offered as an additional database when you work with S4 HANA environments. Therefore, we used the common interfaces. That means for Oracle, we use the PR tools, DBM3 for MaxDB, backend for HANA, iSQL for ASE, and of course, we also use the IBM API when you work with IBM DB2 database, which is also integrated, but is not in the certification stack, as this is not done by SAP itself for certification. A few examples of customers, the case studies we have. The Port of San Diego, one of the biggest ports in the United States, is using SAP since nearly 10 years now, backing up their SAP environment with our backup solution. And for them, it was an important part to reduce the backup time from 3.5 days to a few hours, which was a really good effort for us. We also worked together with the German Africa line worldwide, backing up their SAP environments globally, and have also good examples for companies like Link Woodworking, also a global player for wood processing machines. At the moment using SAP with MaxDB, but of course they are also in a migration process to go to SAP HANA in the future, which made it so interesting for them. Next step, how is the backup done when we talk about SAP HANA, when we talk about a certified backup solution? Of course, we have to use the backend API from SAP. We support the different backup models with a full backup, differential, and incremental backup. Means that we have automated log backup cycles, we have the database backup integrated, and the backup state, so also the things of monitoring and housekeeping can be monitored from the HANA environment itself, so you can use the Studio Cockpit to monitor your backups or to get catalog of your backups. On the other hand, you can use the sesam user interface to monitor the backups or to get the catalogs for the backups for your HANA databases. Backup and restores can be started directly out of the studio, the cockpit. That means, very important, the Assist DBA, the HANA DBA, don't have to resync something, don't have to work with the backup solution itself because it's completely integrated. He can work with its own tools. He can work with his own studio. He can do a point-in-time restore out of the studio to second, down to a second, and this is really important, fairly simple, without without the need of the usage of the user interface of SAP sesam. We can automate the backups in different ways. That means we can automate them with our scheduling. We can automate them with cron jobs. That's very important in case you have, let me say, you have a HANA unit in your company and they want to use their own cron jobs. Of course, you can use them. Also, that's no problem. So there's no limitation. The installation and the configuration is fairly simple. It's a small executable that you have to use on the client with 5 parameters, and after that, the backup is configured, and you can start with the automated backup process. Of course, we support scale-out cluster systems, multi-node systems for S4HANA. We support multi-tenancy for S4HANA, so you can back up and restore different tenants for your HANA database. And we have a tutorial for that on YouTube available, also on our technical wiki available. It's, let me say, 7 minutes straightforward. After that tutorial, you are able to back up your database because then you have installed and configured your database backup with SAP sesam. Next step is the technical architecture of SAP HANA backup with our certified solution. That means how to back up the database, what we have to do. Of course, we have to connect to the database. We use HTTP SQL commands for that. You can connect with the HANA Studio. You can use, as I mentioned that before, your cron jobs to operate the system, or, of course, in between, the easiest way is just use the SEP scheduling. That means everything is automated with SEP and everything is also monitored with SEP. That's very important for compliance. It's often better to have a user interface that monitors everything for you instead of using the cron jobs where you have to grab all the monitorings. On bottom, we see the so-called SEP HTTP backend. This is our connector to the backend API, our SAP backend module, and this module directly connects to the backend API and transports the data, the database itself, the different logs and everything via our integrated multi-streaming engine to our backup server or remote device server. This is very important. That means we don't have a staging on the HANA system itself. The data is directly transported off the system, so you don't lose any disk space on the system or have copies directly lying on the system, belonging to the system. It's everything transported directly to the backup location, and of course we can use our deduplication and replication technology to do an off-site backup, to do a cloud-based backup, so also for business continuity and also for cost efficiency. This is a really interesting solution to use our deduplication replication in that case. Case study from a customer in Germany called TWL. This is a customer serving mostly governmental companies in the transportation, electricity section. And they started to go to SAP with SAP and Oracle in combination in the beginning a few years ago, and now they are moving they're moving from the Oracle environments, the SAP R3 environments, more and more to SAP HANA environments, and doing that with SEP together as a seamless migration. Okay, I just switch over a bit of the other slides, a case study from Quista with Lenovo, and then we have UniOrg and so on. So you can see them later in the presentation. Really interesting case studies we have.
Okay, before we start with the summary, I want to encourage you, if you have any additional questions, we got already a few of them, please feel free to write additional questions right now that we can answer them after the next slides, after the summary. Yes, what is the summary of this day, of this webinar? We saw that we have a very excellent combination of Red Hat environments with SAP and SEP. Of course, RHEL and REF are a wonderful base for SAP environments, even for SAP HANA, S4 HANA environments, and they are all served with SAP sesam as a backup software. You can use this complete stack of Red Hat, SAP, and SEP in physical and SAP environments as well as in virtual SAP environments.
Yes, and of course, very important, we have information pools available for you. So later on, when you're interested, getting more insights, technical insights, or you need some marketing material, or you need some additional white papers, please don't hesitate. You can download the software and test the software, of course, also for free on the sepsoftware.com/download. More important for me, when you try to get started, we have our SAP Wiki documentation. This is the technical documentation. You have also all the video tutorials, including this SAP HANA backup tutorial, available on the wiki.sepsoftware.com. And you have additionally the overview of all the supported OS and applications and everything with our support matrix. The support matrix is available in our wiki, is also available on the sepsoftware.com/support matrix. A few more case studies on the sepsoftware.com/references, and additionally our YouTube channel, youtube.com/sapsesam, to get the video tutorials or to get additional commercial videos. A visual impression is, let me say, for me always a bit important. So we have our user interface, graphical user interface, running on every system with a common 64-bit Java version. And of course, we have our integrated dashboard and our integrated restore portal running with every common internet browser you have. You just have to connect to your sesam server, authorize against the sesam server, and you're directly able to get all the information you need and to start restores if you are authorized for that.
Okay, this is the last page. This gives you an overview of all the environments that we support. There are a lot of operating systems on hypervisors, on databases, and on applications, which means for you, of course, it's very important that you can back up your Red Hat environment. It's very important that you can back up your SAP environment, but I'm pretty sure you will have an IT environment which has more than that. And as we fulfill your SAP backup on Red Hat environments, we will also serve you with the rest of your environment to back up and restore this data. And now I hand over to the moderator.
Wolfgang is, I think he's at the moment.
Hi, this is Daniela Kapp from Red Hat. I'm happy to do the Q&A unless you are doing it, Wolfgang.
Yes, I'm more than happy to do that. Thanks a lot. So this is Wolfgang again, and thank you, Ralf. Thank you, Holger, for the great presentation. I think it resonated quite well with the audience, because I can see there are already a couple of questions. So for everyone on the webinar, on the call, if there are any questions, please type them in right now. And I'd like to start with, well, the first two are quite identical, asking which of the platforms are supported by SAP Backup for HANA, and one is more specific. Is it also covering the IBM I platform?
That's a good question. We have to check that for the IBM I platform, because what we are covering currently is on Power we're covering AIX and Linux on Power, and we are also covering the Z systems and Linux One on Z. So I hope that gets the answer in specific, because I'm not quite aware of a specific I platform. I think it was mentioned to AIX.
Yeah.
And of course all Intel architectures.
Okay, another question that came up. We had several reasons for SAP sesam. But what about the advantages of SAP sesam compared with other backup software for SAP on Red Hat?
I think there are several advantages. One is our really deep integration for the Red Hat Virtualization that we have, our ISV partnership with Red Hat that we're doing joint development in that cases. And of course that we have already a good install base and good support reputation for the SAP Red Hat environments, Oracle and HANA environments in that case.
And I would like to add one sentence, as we saw in the question which was answered by the audience before. A lot of them are using still own tools, and some of them are also using non-certified backup solutions. And of course, we are certified for everything for the SAP backup and restore support, which means in case of any problems, you will get support from SAP. In case of uncertified solutions or even own tools, this is not the case for the customer.
Yeah, we have limited support with uncertified tools, and we have an additional module for the ASE database integrated. And I think at the moment, it's at the moment the fact that we are the only backup vendor worldwide offering additional module for ASE databases, which is the additional database you get more or less for free when you choose to go to SAP HANA environments.
All right, another question, which is probably in connection with virtualization. Is a client needed on every VM?
No, it's agentless backup. That means we only need the client for a so-called data mover for this virtual machine that transports the data. This is the only machine that is connected with the client. All the other systems don't need a client. We communicate directly with the Rev Manager, and the Rev Manager processes then via the Red Hat API the complete snapshot procedure.
Okay, thank you very much. And another one, where can we get more information about SAP sesam and prices? I think this should be an easy one.
It's an easy answer. With the slide set, which you will get afterwards, you will get the links to all the informations, and some of these informations will already be mentioned in the email directly. And for the prices, either contact our reseller partners if you know them. If you don't know them right now, please get in contact with us.
Yeah, that case, a simple mail directly to us to sales@sep.de is the fastest way if you're not aware of your reseller.
All right, and another question is coming up regarding is slide 9. So is SAP S/4HANA and HANA Backup also available on-premise? It looks like that in the picture it's a backup as a service offering.
No, of course it's absolutely available on-premise. That means that is the idea of the simplicity beyond our hybrid solution. You can use all our tools on-premise. You can work with all that software on-prem. You can combine that with off-prem solutions. So you can use hybrid cloud solutions. But of course, yes, everything is on-prem available.
All right. And another question. Is it a push or pull method? I'm not sure if you know exactly what that is related to.
In case of the backup for the database, it's a pull method. In case of the log files, normally you use the integrated push, as you have a log cycle and a log backup cycle. It's normally configured with a 15-minute cycle for the log backups, but can be adapted with a 5-minute cycle or a 20-minute cycle. So in that case, I would say it's a combination with the backend API for HANA.
All right, and then we've got another question regarding the support of platforms, and I would like to summarize it. Can you also support Red Hat OpenShift, OpenStack, and what about Nutanix?
Concerning Red Hat OpenShift, we discussed it already, or we are in discussion with Red Hat. So far, we got the feedback from Red Hat that there is no special need for a special tool to back up Red Hat OpenShift. If you have a different opinion, please get in contact with us that we understand your interest even better, and then we can discuss a specific solution for that. So far, we haven't heard about a need for that.
And what about OpenStack?
There we go with OpenStack. Okay. OpenStack is always a specific case. That means in case of OpenStack, we normally have to approve the environment if the common configurations are used for, as to say, for the KVM hypervisor, for the databases and everything. Underlying the storage systems, the databases and everything is supported, but this is normally a custom-made solution. That means if we go for 90% built Red Hat OpenStack environment, we can integrate SAP very easy. This depends on the configuration of the OpenStack environment on the data center side, how much we have to adapt the data protection solution to integrate it. But it's possible, yes.
All right, and last question is coming on hyperconverged solutions like Nutanix. Is that also supported?
So far, we do not have a special support for Nutanix, but this is in consideration for the roadmap. But right now, I have to say no. If you ask for the future, I would say let's get in contact.
Yes, so consideration for the roadmap with Nutanix, depending on VMware or Acropolis, is actually an open discussion in our company, and it is on the table, I have to say.
All right. So I don't have any further questions. So this would be the last chance to enter a question. Otherwise, I think we are already on top of the hour again. And with that, I would like to say thank you very much, everyone, for attending. Thank you, Holger and Ralf, for the great presentation again. And wish you a great rest of the week. Thanks for attending, and goodbye.
Yeah, thanks everybody from my side and from Holger's side. Nice to have you on the webcast.
And I would like to encourage you that everyone thinks about his certified backup solution, if it is certified and if it is of interest for you, and additionally about data privacy. Let's get in contact. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.